I'm gonna go ahead and call our council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilperson Griffin, Councilperson Stokes,
Here.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Here.
Councilperson McFarland, Mayor Pro Tem Brown, here, Mayor Bradley.
Here. Our invitation is Councilperson Hopkins.
Okay, let's pray. Father, we come before you as we enter Lent and Easter season. Father, I pray that our community would put you first, and that you would shine upon this community with your favor and blessings. We pray that you would give our council wisdom tonight, and that we would not lean on our own understanding, but lean up according to your wisdom, Father. We ask that you would keep our entire community safe and bless our employees, and may we enhance the quality of life for our citizens by all that we do. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He's coming to survey for Justin tomorrow anyway, and he said I could get with him, show him what we're talking about over there,
Okay.
and he can do most of it in his office.
Is it most of it flat, hilly, or?
It slopes down away from the road. I can't even tell you, I've never even paid any attention to that end of the world. I've been filling the front up there.
Okay.
I don't know what it looks like. It may not even be anything you want, but I know going down to the house that's right beside it, it's just a gentle slope, so probably be okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first on the agenda tonight is the approval of minutes from the work session and council meeting on March 10th, 2025. Is there any discussion?
Make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Stokes,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McFarland,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes. Next is Alabama Municipal Insurance Corporation voting delegate. I spoke with Dennis over the weekend, and he said he would be that delegate that he planned on going. Let me see, that is going to be, you know, you put a pamphlet in here, didn't you? You got it? I know I was looking at the month of the lead. Well, that's it, that's gonna be it.
That will be in the
Here it is. The convention's gonna be, May the 13th through the 16th of 2025. And this year it's gonna be in Huntsville. So, just so everybody knows, but Dennis said he would be that delegate. If someone would like to nominate him to be that delegate, I'd appreciate it.
I make that motion, Mayor.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Stokes,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McFarland,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes. The next is the election form to order the voting machines. They want this in as soon as possible. So would the council, someone like to make a motion to, allow the city clerk to go ahead and order voting machines?
I make that motion that allow Patrick to go ahead and order the voting machines necessary for the election.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Stokes,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McFarland,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes. City attorney didn't have anything for us tonight. Tonight on my notes, I've already mentioned the convention, 13th to the 16th, 2025 in Huntsville. That'll be May 13th to 16th. The city has, the council at the last meeting had requested, quotes for the IT service. We have contacted, a couple. We've gotten one estimate in. We're still waiting on a couple to come in, so it'll probably be on the agenda for the next meeting, but we did not get them in. Also, I'd like to remind the council that we are going to have a budget work session, probably after the next, April, meeting, the first meeting in April. Have a work session probably within that week or the week, that we don't have a council meeting. Amanda said she's closing out March, and then, of course, our midterm will be up in March, so, we can have our midterm, budget work session. Also, I'd like to mention the roads. Mayor Pro Tem Brown said she rode the roads. Councilperson, Hopkins said he had. I have rode the roads, the ones, Wiregrass Construction was contracted to repair the following roads: Angel Circle, Buckshot Lane, Bush Lane, Cedar Creek Road, Country Living Circle, Country View Circle, Country View Road, Jean Glenn Lane, Hill Street, Katy Lane, Margaret Lane, Moccasin Trail, Olivia Drive, Road Lane, Road at the end down, that didn't get paved the last time, Seminole Trail, Smith's Ridge Way, up to 208, Tom L. Drive, and that was a patch. Let me read the ones they totally did. These are the ones that they, totally paved was, Bush Lane, Hill Street, Seminole, Moccasin, Country Living, Margaret Lane, Buckshot, Wolf, Jean Glenn, Olivia, Angel. Partial paving was Katy Lane, Cedar Creek, because these are the roads that did not need it all the way, that had been previously, some of it had been paved. Cedar Creek Road, Will Keith Road, Row Lane Road, Country View Road, Country View Circle, Smith Ridge Way, up to 208, and section repair was Tom L. and Cedar Creek at the end of that. We have not received an invoice for that yet. I also want to read off a list of the roads that Trustful is going to be paving once they put the mains in. That's going to be Masters Lane and Row Lane Road, Ridge Road and Row Lane at the end of that. Loop Road is going, and Sweet Gum is going to be paved. Pine Lane and Row Lane Road. Lovell Lane at Argo Margaret Road. Narrow Lane, Argo Margaret Road. Farm Lake, Argo Margaret Road. Woodrow Lane, Argo Margaret Road. And Rosewood Lane, US 11. This is the list of roads that Trustful Utilities will be paving once they have completed that. He said he hoped for them to get started, sometimes this next month. So we're just gonna have to, with their mercy, we can't tell them when to do theirs or whatever, but I just wanted to let y'all be aware, these are the other roads that Trustful will be, doing.
They also have where water line is on Will Keith, where it goes up on the very end. It's sinking. I've reported that before, and I don't know if they were ever contacted or not about that.
Nick, do you know anything?
They were contacted about that, but I'm not sure if they actually went out there and looked at it, because I have addressed it, but that's where they did culvert work, or moved the water line when they replaced that culvert at Mary Ann. So I'll touch base with Trustful Utilities tomorrow and double check on that.
Okay, thank you.
When did they fix that culvert?
A year ago,
Is that right?
I think.
Yeah, they took two on there.
Can you do it for us?
Mr. Jones.
Yes, in MBE Construction.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's who did the culvert work out there.
Anything from the council?
There are a couple of places on Row Lane that are pretty bad. Starting at the beginning of Row Lane and going down to Masters, there's a few potholes that I was hoping that they would catch.
That wasn't on our list. Row Lane wasn't on, it was just at the end.
It
It was on.
just said, there was like 8 or 10 listings of Row Lane with no description of what they were gonna do on Row Lane, just Row Lane, Row Lane, Row Lane, Row Lane. So that might need to be addressed in our next batch of roads that we do, but Tommy would know more than, you travel it more than I would. I just traveled it looking at those roads. Do you
The ones that I was talking about, Row Lane Road, was, the end of Row Lane Road down by the Quicks and the, what is their names?
It's after when Roll Lane.
Yeah,
goes
right
straight
when
from-
Cedar Creek started,
There's
that part of
Cedar
Row
Creek
Lane was to
Beers
get
Hall.
paved, that's the only one that was on there for Row Lane. And these other ones from the Trustful Utilities is supposed to do, those roads are coming off of Row Lane
Right,
Road.
right, I understood that. Okay, so on the paving management plan they gave us, if you just look at Wilkie Road, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 listings of Wilkie Road. Altogether, that's $340,000. So I imagine when we get their bill, we'll know exactly what they did on Wilkie Road. they gave us so many different listings for $340,000 worth of work to be done on Wilkie Road. And I rode Wilkie, and the work they did looks great, patches are large enough, so I don't know why.
I think we need to look into that more too. I think there's a lot of Will Keith Road that's not ours.
They're,
They only patched one section right around the curve, so I mean, that was the only place.
yeah,
they
they
were.
only patched two.
But I mean, before you get involved in all this
Yeah,
other,
I just wanna know why, and it may not make a difference, I don't know, but anyway. What they did, I'm pleased with, there's only a couple of spots that I would encourage people to take a look at, cause I don't know what I don't know about.
But it depends on how much this cost us, is that if we're gonna be able to have any more done right now, because right now, we got to have the engineer go out there and look at, what, 3 places, 4 places? That the road is, caving in on, and these are not roads that was on this list. This has happened since then. We have an incident also where someone has put a driveway in, did not get a permit or anything, and it's, we're done washing out, 2 portions of the, places where we just paved. So we've gotta take care of these problems before we can, commit to paving anything else right
Yeah,
now.
and I'm not talking about any time in the near future, even the next administration, eventually
Okay.
there'll be another batch of roads to be paved.
There's always gonna be some of them.
There was, did you think to ask Steve about that, Rainbow Ridge?
He rode out there today, and he said all he saw was some gravel. He said somebody must have already gotten it up, because all he could find was some gravel.
No, they're clearing enough land to put in a subdivision, or several houses.
That might be the one that's supposed to have to come back before the zoning board that's wanting to
Yes.
subdivide. They, cut it into 4 different sections, and now they decided they just want the 3 sections and cut down, make the lots bigger, so they're gonna have to come back before the, zoning board for that, so.
They have cleared out everything, it's nothing
Oh,
but
I
red
saw
and
that.
mud.
Yeah, they got Shaw.
Where was that, was it at?
You know where,
Cedar Creek was.
Cedar Creek comes off of Tom L, if I'm not mistaken, there's a sign right there that says Rainbow something Estates,
It's-
Rainbow Ridge Estates.
That's
You go-
That's
the
the one.
builder, that's the
That's the
builder,
one.
yes
Is
ma'am.
that Cedar Creek?
That is Cedar Creek Lake, yes ma'am.
That's a lot of land, that's a lot of land, and I don't know why they've been allowed to clear all of that without silk fence. I mean, it's right up against the new paved road, and they've cut down every tree, everything, it's just to me, it's several acres of just red.
It is, cause they're currently excavating it right now, and you're gonna have that, but I went out there 2 weeks ago when they first got started to make sure that they were not offloading metal track equipment, excavators and stuff onto that fresh asphalt. So, but at that time, I didn't see any mud in the road, so I'll go down there and see
Well,
about that.
Make sure they have silk fence up too. I'll get Steve to go out there and check on that again too.
so you
I think, if I'm not mistaken, according to ADEM's guidelines, if you clear more than an acre of land, you must have silt fencing and mitigation. So I think we need to take a look at it.
Well, that's just like this driveway that person has put in. They didn't come get a permit. Nobody knew about it until we filed a complaint. We must come out there and do something because the road was washing out the new road. And
all right. If you, yeah, so that's where it was washing out over the road, so if you'll thumb those pictures back my way, you'll be able to see what the amount of property back towards me there. There's a bunch of them.
While the mayor's looking at that,
oh my goodness, that's coming straight off of that.
washing out a lot of silt runoff, that's a.
Yeah, if there's anything in the road, it had to have happened within the last week, because I was just up there
Because I
last
was out there Saturday,
Okay.
no, Friday, I was off
Okay.
Friday, I rode out there Friday.
Nick, is this the same person that's wanting to come back before us now?
Yes, ma'am. To divide the smaller parcels into bigger parcels,
Okay.
that's, yeah.
But that should never have been allowed to start without silk fence, is my point.
And maybe some permits too.
Yeah, they're supposed to. They're supposed to come in and get permits.
There was nothing that had, I mean, there was no way for me to know what address it was, because there's no markings at all.
pretty sure Steve is aware of that property and what's going on up there. I'd have to double check with him tomorrow.
One suggestion I would say maybe we consider is, we're gonna be meeting in the next couple of weeks with the budget, maybe we need to meet about the roads that night too, and just try to get an update about the roads and know, because I think, you know, my desire is that we continually keep paving as much as we can and have a plan to continue. But we don't know where we're at, we don't know how much we spent, so we need an update from Wiregrass, and then know what we've done, and then I think that night, when we do the budget meeting, if we can get a comprehensive update and also a plan for the future, that way we can continue to go, I'd like to see that.
Yes,
Hey, Rick, well, I've been out sick, so I may have missed something, but that was approved not to exceed $725,000.
Yes, there's $722,909.
Not to exceed $725,000.
And at the time, yes, sir, and at the time, they said that they felt like that would cover, you know, I think it was 19 roads, and they were very conservative in their figures. They felt like that they would still be able to do many other roads that are on the list. So the plan is, once they get up to that, we're going to fund more if we can, which I think we can, and keep it going. So we just need to know where they're at with the 19, then we can just figure out the priority. That's why that scoring is so important, because, you know, once, we want to have a fair, systematic way of paving these roads, and that's why we wanted to have the scores from the engineers, that way that we can not just pave according to the roads we drive every day, but according to the most urgent needs,
Yes, sir.
and have a systematic
Thank you.
approach, so, yes, sir.
Well, how these roads that got paid is the police chief, the fire chief, the building inspector, the girls in the office with that gets all the complaints and everything, because there was a lot of those roads, like Ian said, that was not
Yes.
on our thing. So all of them came in there in my office, they all sat down, and all of them compared notes as to which roads our fire and police department was having issues with, which roads the building inspector was having issues with, and the most complaints that we were getting in front office.
And one of the big problems that we had, I know, last year with, Country View Circle was the bus couldn't even get down that road because it was in such bad shape. Now, one thing that I did notice, and I don't know if we have the equipment to do this, but we need to, now that we have these roads paved, we need to take care of the sides of the roads. If we have culverts that need to be cleaned out, do we have the equipment to do that and maintain that? And some of the roads that I rode on, right up to the edge of the road, there's weeds that are taller than me, that are dead right now. But now would be a good time, if we have the equipment to, I would almost call it bush hogging because they're so tall. Now would be a good time.
You know where she's talking about?
Not specifically.
Just ride all the new roads. I don't even remember the names because I didn't write down, I was just writing down notes about the paving itself, but,
And I will tell you this, some of these people will not cut in, their front there where they should be, expecting the city to take care of it, and,
well, this is right on the road's edge. I don't think, I mean,
There-
some of these people don't keep their yards up.
Right.
They're not gonna keep the edge of the road up, that, we have an easement, I believe, in my understanding.
We do, there are certain spots, like there's one spot on Seminole Trail that the vegetation, I guess you'd say, has grown up and it's getting out in the road. Problem is, the property owner there has a metal fence laid in the grass. So you run over there with a bush hog, you end up ripping somebody's fence up, tearing up a, $5,000-6,000 bush hog.
Right, well, we
You just have to know where this stuff is.
and I'll give you another example. Over here on Rolling Road, where those bushes grow out into the road, oh my God, Nick went out there and cut those things back, and oh my God, the homeowners had a fit, because,
Well, if we're cutting back within our easement, they didn't have all the fifty.
had a fit, because they said that he had burnt their trees,
It's our
That's
property
their
to
privacy
maintain.
growth.
and,
It's the city's responsibility.
And there's some hanging on Will Keith way back there, limbs hanging out in the street, there's 6-foot tall dead weeds of some kind, not cut.
Um,
And I think, you know, well, I know Roll Lane right before you get to Mount Oaks on the left, that culvert's pretty bad, that's where we're getting all that engineering issue, I'm sure.
Yes.
But I just imagine that your job's difficult because you may could get out there with a mini X, but you've got a trailer, someone needs to tow that trailer to dump all that, so it's really more than a one-man
He's
job.
gotta worry about pipes, I mean, the
Traffic.
Yes, sir. So,
traffic, and he's also gotta worry about, you know, the water lines, the gas lines, and to make sure that they call, 811 or what it is, to make sure that there's nothing
and
there.
that's when I'm curious if this needs to be something that we engage an outside contractor to handle those culvert cleanouts, or if that's something we need to get Nick and approve him some help, or I don't know, Nick would like to hear your recommendation on cleaning out some of these culverts.
Okay, so Roland Road specifically is very dangerous, no matter what you're doing, doesn't matter if you're patching a pothole, cutting the grass with a tractor, bush hog, or doing culvert work, that is probably one of the most dangerous roads that I work on, because of the traffic.
And they get mad if you're out in the road.
Yeah, they're.
Well, I think one of our officers rode somebody the other day going 60 miles an hour on that road.
Yeah.
Amen.
So the thing is, you can either approve funds for an outside contractor to do that has a crew of people, has flaggers, because Corky knows at the address of 567 Roll Lane where we having the washout issues, you will get run over from one direction or the other.
I worked it, I guess, while I was on the council, I worked that place. I did a good bit of stuff, but I hadn't in 3 or 4 years.
What we're gonna have to do is wait till we get our invoice from Watergrave, to find out exactly how much it's gonna cost us for what we're getting, and then we'll see how much money we've got left, because there's, you know,
That's a good plan.
everything is we're gonna have to make sure we can afford to hire somebody to go out and do these things, before we just up and start getting somebody out here, because we've spent quite a bit.
It's a lot more costly than you think, too.
Yes, it is.
It's either gonna be.
And we still have four issues that's gonna have to be addressed, or we're gonna lose the road. They're caving in, so we know we've got those 4.
I don't know if you heard me earlier, Mayor, when I mentioned that the night when we do the budget meeting, it would be good to look at these road plans comprehensively at the same time. I think it'd be a good plan.
Did you have some?
Yeah, I was just, following up with that, like, you could, contract out these ditch cleanouts and stuff, or the other end of it, hire an additional man for me. I know earlier we said that, I didn't need extra help cutting the grass, but for stuff like that, that is a 2-man job. I mean, you got.
And we did not budget for it this year.
Correct, correct.
So we did not budget for it, so that's gonna be an additional to our budget if we decide to do that. Go ahead.
Also, are we not responsible to keep the easements cut on these main roads?
That's
Yes.
what they're talking about.
Well, you're talking about a fence down.
Oh, that's a.
I'm assuming there's some areas along there that's not got people living there.
Nick does a pretty good job on the parkway down there, on our Road Margaret Road. He tries to keep road lane cut down there and he usually in the summer months, he tries to take sections of the city. Over on there, on the other side of the interstate, one day, he tries to take the road lane road all the way to Margaret and the parkway, then he tries to get the road lane section and the areas over there, one day. And I'll tell you, to be honest with you, and Ann knows this too, you pick up garbage and they're throwing it out as fast as you pick it up.
That's right. Nick does a good job, it looks good, you can tell where he's
The
been.
areas that I'm talking
For
about.
2 days, it looks good.
Yeah.
On the sides of the roads that we just had paved, you would have to have a crew to pick up the trash before you could cut the 5-foot weeds, or you would tear up your road. But
And that's what he did last week. Was it last week you went over and picked up on road lane?
2 weeks ago.
there's no sense in us spending $725,000 on paving roads if we're not gonna maintain the easement on the side of what we just invested taxpayer dollars in. So in saying all that, we can't decide what all we can afford to do until after we have this meeting, which is coming up really soon.
Yes,
So we
right.
should-
You gotta have money before you can do anything, so we gotta wait for that.
We should be able to address that pretty fast.
Hopefully we get it, I had Amanda send an email today to him asking for us to, for that invoice, that we would like to go ahead and get that invoice, so we're waiting on, him to.
I wonder if we should invite him to that meeting briefly for the beginning of the meeting, some of Wiregrass.
We could do that that first
For what?
meeting.
I said, I wonder if we should invite a representative from Wiregrass for the beginning of that budget meeting, just to ask them questions and give us a report, then we can dismiss them.
I think we need to wait after we look over the budget that we've already budgeted for and see if we've got any extra money for those, then have him come to a meeting,
Council meeting.
a council meeting, and then we'll know how much, if anything, that we have to spend before he starts talking about dollars and everything, because if we can have him come, it might be a waste of his time, we don't know if we're gonna have any money to spend. We're just gonna have to, see what we get from Wiregrass, and I'm hoping it's gonna come in under budget. I'm sorry, what?
Usually if they're a little bit slow to bill, it won't be good news.
Probably not.
They're trying to figure out what happened.
Well, they got a prize.
I know.
Did anyone sign to speak tonight? I don't have anything else. Does the council have anything?
Mayor, can I just praise, I didn't sign up for praise if I need to,
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. I didn't. The system is working, we mentioned permits, and the system is, I have another, not the project I talked about last time, not with the wall, no, not with your husband, but, I had a generator, I have a generator being installed, and Steve Tuttle is still, like I said the other day, the most professional, on point, he's there doing what he's supposed to do, and the system works. That's
Well,
all
I'm
I
sure
gotta
he
say
appreciates
about
you
that.
saying that, because usually the only time they see anybody is when they're
Well,
kinda angry at him
They're all wrong.
for what he has to do, and everything.
So my generator is almost completely installed because of his availability to come and say, okay, this one's good.
That's good. I'm glad he's doing his job, and I appreciate you saying that, because these guys don't get a lot of praise for the things they do, so I appreciate you saying that.
And I didn't sign up either, but I want to brag on the police department.
Okay, go ahead.
I had some guy behind the hardware store at my mini store just loading up a bunch of stuff that didn't belong to him. I called the police. They were there in just a matter of minutes. And the guy, he just got out of prison the week before, and he didn't respect me a whole lot till the police got there. And then he had a buddy with him. As soon as anybody got there, he went and got in the car, but there were warrants out for him in Dothan. So it was,
Well, I'm glad that you found,
I'm
that you
tickled
found
they got there
them,
and took care of things like they did.
and appreciate the policemen being there.
They already
all
knew,
do a good
they
job.
knew who the guy was and the other guy too, and they were on top of all of it.
Same with our fire department. I got a call the other day about them, about how professional they was when they answered a call out there that when someone's loved one was in pretty bad shape, and talked about how professional they were. So I appreciate all these workers. We have some great people that work here
Yes,
that
we do.
they do their job, and they don't get a lot of praise. So when you citizens speak up and say something and give them a little praise, I know it makes them feel better.
I'll join the bandwagon, and I did it online, but I wanted to thank Nick a lot for the cleanup on the real lane. It looks.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Appreciate you saying that.
And I almost stopped, but like you said, that is a dangerous road.
That was very dangerous.
Appreciate all of your comments. Thank you.
Nobody bragging on our attorney.
Nobody- We appreciate y'all all coming. Motion to adjourn.
What's it do there?